Welcome to the Movies to Watch Before You Die podcast. We have another episode with our favorite
Dylan, I specifically told you to just do it normal because I had an idea.
Welcome to the Movies to Watch Before You Die podcast. I am your host, Dylan, along with my cousin and co-host,
Gab.
Along with my non-cousin but other co-host for this episode.
No!
What the fuck do you want from me?
I just want you to do it normal.
Your cousin,
What do I normally do
Marvin Berry. What? You knew that new sound you've been looking for.
Welcome to the Movies to Watch Before You Die podcast. I'm your host, Dylan, along with my cousin and co-host,
Gab.
And today we're talking about a Christmas classic that I think is Movies to Watch Before You Die, but I'm going to see if you think so. Gab, do you have any input, Gab?
Oh my God, what is this guy doing here?
We had to redo this like 3 times, so that was your grand idea. Kyle's here.
Kyle, what the fuck? Don't you have your own podcast?
I do. I'm so busy right now, but thankfully we're in the holiday season, and this is on my wife's list of movies we need to watch during December.
Okay, but hold on. I want to go back to this, so you didn't pick this movie, and you're not a host of this podcast. You're just here for the fun?
So I'm Kobayashing Maru the whole guest format of this show, which is the guest comes on having suggested said film. So safe to assume they think it is a movie to watch before you die. So instead of me putting all my hearts and dreams on, I don't know, did Gab like this one? I get to just come in and provide my opinion, and we'll see what happens.
To sum up, he wanted to come back on the podcast, but he could not put his heart on the line to be hurt by you again, Gab.
Sure. Listen, many people have tried and many have failed. I just want to say, at some point when you have a friend, right, growing up and they come to your house and they have no problem opening the fridge and just taking what they want and they're cool with your parents, they're not a guest anymore. So it feels like maybe you're hoping that we're going to be like, oh, Kyle's not a guest. No, Kyle is a guest and Kyle will plug his own podcast, but I just want to make sure everyone is aware that Kyle is not like the third host who's just got a busy schedule. You know what I'm saying?
But he can be.
It's been established.
If he edits this podcast from now on.
I was just saying, there's one rule.
That is my word.
I ain't got time for that.
I don't have that. That benefits me none. So we're going to have to revisit the drawing board on that one.
Fair enough.
I have several films. Dylan and I have a checklist of eventual films that we might go over.
Who's we? Who's we?
You're there. Kyle.
Oh, God.
It's the Kyle's Kyle Before You Die podcast.
This is going to be one of those it's Dylan and Kyle, and Dylan lets his weird cousin tag along sometimes.
Number 1 on the Kyle's to Watch Before You Kyle Naranya. Number 2, Gab's Uncle Kyle.
Okay, so I just want to point out the reason that the 3 of us can't all be on this podcast is because we don't have a good rhythm. You know what I mean? We're stepping all over each other. Like Dylan and I have a rhythm.
Watch me for the breaks. I'll get you in there. What are you talking about, Gab? Because today we're talking about the 1992 Muppet Christmas Carol movie. We're right back in there. Bada bing, bada boom.
The intro didn't take 10 minutes. No,
not at all.
Absolutely not.
Am I because Kyle is guest but did not pick the movie? Am I asking you, Gab, what this is about? I am.
Things we could have talked about beforehand.
Yeah, but it's just happening now, Gab. What's Muppet Christmas Carol about?
What's this all been about? What am I working toward?
Explain!
As you would a child.
You think you know everything about me, don't you?
I dive at your bottom. I bloody well ought to.
All right, Charles Dickens and Rizzo the Rat tell the tale of Ebenezer Scrooge, who's a real fucking piece of shit until he gets threatened within an inch of his life and then miraculously turns it all around with absolutely no suspicion regarding whether or not his intentions are pure.
It's tax evasion, right?
I do love that she did just refer to him as Charles Dickens, not like as Gonzo the Great or anything like that. The IMDb plot summary. The Muppets put their spin on the tale of an elder Christmas-hating miser who is visited by spirits who foretell his future and share secrets from his past and present, which helps change his view on life.
That's what I said.
Pretty much the same. Yeah. Kyle,
anything you want to add? Okay.
What's that, Kyle? You want to hear the taglines?
Sure.
You
Does
want to
this
hear the
movie
fucking
have any?
taglines?
Does this movie have taglines?
No, actually, it has none.
Whoa.
That is my Christmas gift to Gab.
Thank you.
Midnight in Paris also had none.
Woody
Yeah, I
Allen
guess
doesn't
not.
need taglines.
Also, that's my Christmas gift to Gab too. That one right there. That box.
What is it?
You
Fuck
will unwrap it.
That's not how that
Assuming
works.
over-
Yeah.
Interesting. I just
I'm
got you a
actually
Christmas gift.
You Christmas hating miser. You think I'm just going to tell you what your gift is?
I'm surprised there's not like it's not anything because the Muppets typically have something. I find that odd.
I found it a little odd too when I was doing this, but it is what it is.
Like we're still making stuff. Even Jim's dead. Like I don't know something.
You know, I looked up how he died.
Pneumonia.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, he choked on a
No.
ping pong ball.
No. That would be cool though. No, he died of toxic shock syndrome. Do you know how most people get toxic shock syndrome, boys?
I have toxic
I'm
socks.
leaving a tampon in too long?
Leaving a tampon in too long. So, how
So
did
was he
die of it?
Channing Tating him? Like he was she is the Manning? Is that what we're assuming?
No,
Streptococcal toxic shock syndrome, it says. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't feeling well. His wife took him to the hospital and he died.
That's sad.
The
I don't
end.
want to. I don't want to make a tampon joke about Jim
What, that he was
Henson.
playing in Shark
Beloved
Week?
creator, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be putting that in the wrong place.
But Corey looked it up and he was like toxic shock syndrome, and I was like, nope, that's wrong. But apparently, there's more than one way to get it.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
this is the second
Okay.
Jim Henson thing that I've been on for.
Oh, because
What
the
was the
Henson
first?
company they did the suits for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, interesting. Wow,
That was
Kyle,
the
you've
last
been
movie
on
he worked on.
quite a few.
I've been on a lot. It's been like a minimum of 8 months since. It used to be way more. Scotty, I'm trying.
Scotty, stop it.
If it were up to Kyle, he would be in every episode, but I'd still be editing, and I say that's not okay.
Oh, are you complaining about editing a podcast, Dylan? Really?
Abort.
You're going to do that right now?
Aboard editing
Who-
podcast.
Who's got an episode every other week? I'm
That's
sorry.
your
what
choice,
now?
sir. That is your choice, and this is my choice. And my
Okay.
choice is we're going to the opinions.
Thank you.
In this critic's opinion,
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Well, I have a right to my opinion, and my opinion is you have no right to your opinion.
Excuse me.
Oh my God, do not edit that out.
This is off the fucking rails.
When was it on?
Gab, do you have an opinion you want to start with?
Yeah, I do. So when Bob Cratchit asks for Christmas Day off, I got the unmistakable feeling, and Dylan, I know you will understand this, the unmistakable feeling of asking your mom to buy you something or do something for you. And you're like, hey, I was just wondering if, and immediately you get hit with the, are you fucking kidding me?
You especially get it from the bookkeepers who are clearly the younger siblings going, it was his idea. It was Bob's idea. I didn't want to do it. Kyle wants to do it. I didn't want to.
Yeah, I was never on board with this. But it really took me back to those moments of like, oh yeah, no, that's a I shouldn't have asked this question.
Muckle-kind. I do love, though, the introduction of Scrooge. Actually, wait, because you did introduce it right around the time of the movie that is, having watched this movie twice in the past week, my favorite part of the movie is by far when Gonzo and Rizzo are, well, Charles Dickens and Rizzo are right outside the window of, would you call it, their shop or whatever? And he says, you know, boy, what a dirty window. And he slams Rizzo against it to clean the window. And he goes, thank you for making me a part of this. And both times that has made me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'll say something about Rizzo the Rat. Rizzo the Rat is a New Yorker.
Hell yeah,
and
he is.
that is why people love him. Like, I just want to plug the fact that people love this character. They love Rizzo the Rat because he's a fucking real one from New York.
He would eat anything. He wouldn't eat Sparrow.
No, absolutely fucking not.
Or
You know what's
talking
funny? We
grapes.
walked past the Sbarro
Or
today,
talking
and I
grapes.
was like, you know what? It doesn't smell so bad in there. I didn't go in, but I was like, no, it smells all right.
Gab, I can assure you, Kyle, that Gab and I have had Sparrow at the Sunrise Mall back in the day and thought to
Sunrise
ourselves, this isn't very good, and we paid more than we would have for actual pizza. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Pizza
Oh,
product.
it's a pizza place. Okay.
Yes, they market themselves as like New York style pizza. I just remember from The Office, Michael Scott being in New York City and going, a New York style pizza, you know?
Yes.
Did you, either of you, see this as children? Because I think part of the fun of the context of your lovely podcast is if you had something growing up and then you're seeing it as an adult for the first time, and I know that's happened back and forth, was this one of those movies y'all saw as children?
Gab, you want to go first?
So I have some unfortunate news for the both of you, and that is that no, this was only the second time I had ever seen it. Corey made me watch it last year for the first time. What I realized when I was watching it this time is that I wasn't really like, the Muppets weren't really a big thing for me as a kid. I was intimately familiar with Sesame Street, and sometimes as an adult I conflate the two, but like
it's the Jim Henson shared universe.
They are technically Muppets.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, that makes
sense. But they're not
sense.
referred to as Muppets.
No.
Like, obviously I know Kermit and Miss Piggy, but like, I don't know that that's Gonzo the Great. I recognize him, but I don't like, I can't name any of the other characters. I know
You
Beaker.
mean Charles Dickens?
What?
You mean Charles Dickens?
Yeah, Gonzo.
Charles Dickens.
Don't confuse me. I'm talking about the Muppets. I'm not really familiar with the Muppets. And so this has absolutely no sentimental value to me of any of at all.
Okay.
I will actually say the same thing. As a kid, I loved Muppet Treasure Island. That was my Muppet movie as a kid, and Tim Curry is phenomenal. Tim Curry goes as big as any of the Muppets do, you know, multiple times with his full head tilt to, you know, that kind of thing. If I saw it as a kid, I had no memory of it. So the past week, the 2 times I've watched it, the only times I remember watching it. What about you, Kyle? Did you grow up as were you a bean bunny standing outside singing carols?
No, it's funny. The Muppets for me, like, I feel like they fit more in with our parents' generation, right? Sesame Street's the 60s, or sorry, yes, the 60s. And they're one of those brands, and I hate referring to stuff in such a cold way, but the iconography was obvious. Like, you knew who they were. I can say the only thing that really felt like they were a part of my life was the Tickle Me Elmo was the toy of like the mid 90s.
Sure.
And like they were around, but it was never something I was obsessed with or even a fan of, really. Like, I know we've talked about this where it's like the movies you liked watching a lot, you didn't really ever happen to own. Like, somebody else had a VHS and whatever, and one of my friends from school had Treasure Island, and I, similar to the both of you, I had not seen this till I was an adult because they just weren't something I was interested in with at home. I don't think I'd seen it since I started, probably up until when I started dating Nalina. So I guess like 14, 13 years ago was probably the first time I saw this.
I will say, though, you know, they have so many movies outside of this. Like, I remember, I think it was 2011 when they came out with the new Muppet movie, which started their whole thing. I love the new Muppet
movie.
I really like the concept of the Muppets performing known stories, but injecting themselves in it.
What would you want them to do? That's the next question. What would
Muppet Scarlet Letter, and Miss Piggy is like, so you think me a whore? Like, that's I don't know why that's the first thing my mind comes to. Like, Easy A, but Miss Piggy.
Oh, I want Clue.
Oh, that would be cool. I just sent Dylan this clip that I found on Instagram because once we pick a movie, I feel like my whole feed becomes like that movie. I sent him a clip of Moulin Rouge Muppet style with Miss Piggy, and as she's Satine, and as she's dropping down, she's coughing uncontrollably. It is so funny. Yeah, I definitely don't have a lot of, I don't think any of us, right, have a lot of like emotional connection to this film from childhood, but it does go to show that, you know, obviously we watched it. I don't think any of us were like terribly offended by it. So it holds up even if you don't have any kind of emotional connection to it.
There's a magic in the filmmaking process of the Muppets. Like, I remember growing up and this is relevant given Frank Oz was the puppeteer and voice of Yoda, and seeing like making of for Empire Strikes Back, and you see the sets have to be like 5 feet above the ground so the puppeteers could fit underneath. And like watching these as adults now, I'm just trying to figure out like, where are the people? Because all of this is so practical. Outside of there's a couple stop motion sequences that you're like, oh, Kermit is skating.
There's
and
like two CGI things too. Yeah, very early CGI things.
Yeah, and I think what's so interesting about this, we're in opinions, is these don't work if the human doesn't work. Because Muppets are Muppets, they interact all the time, but what the magic of that is having actors take them completely seriously. And like we've already mentioned him, but like Michael Caine as Ebenezer Scrooge. Michael Caine. I'm curious, Gab, what did you think about the music? Because I know this is usually a sticking point for you, and because this is a musical.
Yeah, I think, it's so interesting, right? Because anytime you have a movie musical, I think it can go one of two ways. It can be really fun and really like engaging, or it can be a little emotional and drag a bit. It doesn't quite translate all the time on screen the way it does in a theater when you're seeing people perform, right? So, but anytime you inject Christmas into a musical, now there's really two ways that it can go, right? It can be fun and merry and exciting, or it can be very emotional and sentimental and a little boring. And so what I like about this movie is that it does have a touch of sentimental, slower music to it, but they do a really good job of having a lot more upbeat and kind of like fun. Obviously, they're singing about what a prick Scrooge is, right? But like, there's definitely a lot more fun than there is like Rainbow Connection style, like, there's a slower moving stuff.
A Rainbow Connection.
And that's a pretty good Kermit.
That was good, yeah.
There's a few songs on here that I really liked. Like the first song about Scrooge, I think is great and does such a great job introducing that character. While they don't show his face for the first like 5 minutes of the movie, it's just him walking and this foreboding presence of Scrooge while they're all like, Scrooge is a cunt. Like that's not exactly what they say, but that's the vibe that you're getting. They're like,
he's the Christmas cunt.
Worst. Yeah. And I like that. I really like the little scat that Tiny Tim and Kermit do, but all the words I know are "'tis the season to be jolly and joyous," and that's all I know. So in my head, I've had that stuck, just the one line. So that's been a little difficult for me. I also, though, really liked Scrooge's song at the end, and Michael Caine does not do a great job singing it, but it just feels so heartfelt that it works.
He's talk singing,
but I found really funny. He's talk singing the best that he can. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That I was listening to it on Spotify earlier today, and it says as the artist, it says Thankful Heart, the artist is Scrooge. And I scrolled down to look at the little lyrics like I do on Spotify a lot of the time because I don't like to look at the road while I'm driving. And for the about the artist, it shows this for Scrooge, and I was like, I don't think so. I don't think that's Scrooge. I would recommend
like a mail order bride.
Yeah, I would recommend you go and look on Spotify Thankful Heart, their version of Scrooge.
That is funny.
You skipped over Marley and Marley.
Oh, that's a good song, yeah.
We're Marley and Marley. Oh.
I love so much that they introduced Robert Marley, who is Bob Marley. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I want to talk a little bit about Michael Caine for a second, because obviously we've all seen the memes, right? Where they're like, this guy really went in and played it like he was starring in like the actual, Dickens story. Takes it very seriously. Even when he says, oh, that's Fozziwig's Rubber Chicken Emporium, like yes. Dead fucking serious. Have you guys seen the video of the two British actors competing for who has the best Michael Caine impression?
Was it on a talk
show?
Yes.
I don't think so.
I think it's like two comedians talking to each other. But Gab has brought this up in so many episodes that had nothing to do with Michael Caine.
Yeah, I finally have my moment, because they start they're both doing their impression and they're arguing with each other, and they're like, except when he gets angry, then it's very specific and very loudly. I just love it, and we say that all the time. Very specific and very loudly.
There's also that story where somebody kept going around and came up to him and asked if he was a drug dealer, and he was like, no. And he was like, people keep going around and saying he's my cocaine, my cocaine.
That's funny. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for somebody who can really not give in to the silly nature of the Muppets and really deliver a fantastic performance. And I think it's a little redundant to talk about Michael Caine doing a good job because he's one of the most prolific actors of all time, right? But I think it speaks to his talent that he was so able to just deliver a straight performance with a bunch of fucking puppets.
You know who could do this now is like Christian Bale.
Oh my God. Wait, I would watch the hell out of a Christian Bale Muppet movie because he's absolutely right. That is somebody who is far too serious that I can't really picture them doing a Muppets movie, but I would watch the shit out of it.
Okay, that's fair.
Muppet American Hustle.
Christian Bale and Viola Davis. Muppet Kramer versus Kramer.
Oh my God, that would
My
be
Dinner
amazing.
with Kermit.
So
yes,
I want to talk
too.
a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about Scrooge. And, obviously, like, this is a Muppet Christmas Carol, so we're talking specifically about this version of the story. But, his nephew Fred comes in, and I have to say, I don't know if this is just me, like, not really being, like, the most festive holiday person, but I was like, no. This guy is really annoying. Get out of my fucking face. Take your fucking wreath. And I want to make this, kind of point that, like, there are some people who do make Christmas their entire personality, and those people are fucking annoying. And I think we don't give Scrooge enough credit for recognizing how annoying those fucking people are.
So you want to advocate for beginning Scrooge right now?
All I'm saying is that he's a bad person year round, and that's the problem. If he just didn't want to be bothered about this consumerist fucking capitalist holiday, then I don't blame him.
Well, I very much appreciate that. It's very genuinely not about the capitalist portion of it, I feel like. In fact, the only time gift giving isn't really mentioned at all, and I think that's something that I really like about the movie. It's about the Christmas spirit. And
what do you know about the Christmas spirit, Dylan?
As a young Jew, my people have written most of the best Christmas movies. But it's really just about keeping the spirit of kindness and the spirit of charity. And I think that I very much
and
understand.
Paying people a livable wage.
Yes, I do think we need our Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future now. Like, Jeff Bezos needs to get visited by Creepy Baby, Grim Reaper, and Luigi Mangione, like that would be my Ghost of Christmas Present, I guess, nowadays.
Do you think that somebody like Jeff Bezos watches this movie or any other rendition of A Christmas Carol and feels a little bad?
No,
Nope.
Because those people aren't self-aware.
He thinks so many people are so lucky that I pay them.
Like Elon Musk watches Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, and goes, Edward Norton is sick, like completely unaware that it's making fun of him.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Do you guys like A Christmas Carol? Like, is it a story that resonates with you?
I think it's a story that resonates very well. I think the problem is usually if there's no humor injected in it, it just feels like an hour and a half long sermon of like, it's bad to be a greedy jerk. And I'm like, well, I know that, I was aware of that. Like, you read the story as a kid, which I had already. And then, there's many movie versions of this. I don't know why the only one that comes to my mind immediately is that Jim Carrey creepy animation one.
Not Scrooged?
I've never seen Scrooged.
Or Spirited?
Gab
or
heavily petitioned for Scrooge.
Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol?
I know that Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol is one of them as well, yes.
I want to say, and I don't want to bury the lead or anything, but one of my major issues with this movie is the fact that I don't care for A Christmas Carol. And I think, like Dylan said, it feels like an hour and a half long sermon about why you shouldn't be bad. But I also think there is a couple of things in it that make me a little uncomfortable. And I should say, growing up every year for Christmas, my grandparents would take me to like our local regional theater to see their production of A Christmas Carol. So I have seen A Christmas Carol, like the OG A Christmas Carol, so many fucking times. I don't care to ever see it again. And this is what I don't like about it. I don't like that it's very preachy about how you're supposed to be a good person. I don't like that it's very preachy about how you're especially supposed to be a good person around Christmas. And there's a lot of like religious stuff embedded in there, and they're not like saying it, but they're implying it.
Christmas is religious?
Apparently.
I don't find
Not
that
to-
there's any religious input into this version of the movie.
No.
But you're saying in
No, no,
general.
no.
The church.
In
Did you guys
general.
not see the scene when they go into the church, or is that just in the extended cut?
Yeah, no, there's no church in ours.
Oh,
That must
I guess
be
the
crazy.
closest they get is when they're ringing the bell in the graveyard. Is that at the top of a church steeple? We're
Maybe.
going off track. That's not what
Hold on. I gotta keep my focus. I don't like that in A Christmas Carol, not necessarily Muppet Christmas Carol, but in A Christmas Carol, there's this like very grim, like, oh, this boy is crippled and he's gonna die. It's like, oh, listen, and I'm not suggesting that this isn't a reality for a lot of people, but it just feels like very guilt laden. And then like Scrooge, all of the sudden is like, oh, I'm good now. And we're all just supposed to accept that and forget. Like, there's no like, well, hey, you were a real asshole for a long time and a lot of people suffered at your hand. Like, what are you going to do to make up for this? It's just like, well, it's Christmas, so we have to forgive you. And like, I don't think that's right. And there's just so much about it that I don't care for.
can I ask you a follow-up question?
Yeah.
Based on what you just said, how do you feel about the Grinch?
Well, here's the thing. Why are you clapping?
Because the Grinch ends the exact same way, where everybody's like, you know what? This guy's pretty great. And it's like,
Yeah.
the previous
So let
decades
me-
of being
I'm
a
gonna
dick
tell
are
you-
discarded.
I'm going to
And
tell
the
you exactly how I
toys,
feel about
and
that.
I care. What is the deal?
With his
I
enlarged
think-
heart, yes.
The Grinch, number one, I don't think is as
It's about racism. 'cause
rooted
he's
in
green.
reality. So, yes, the moral is there, but it's not like A Christmas Carol is so like
Bob Cratchit's a frog, Gab.
no, in this one, I'm just talking about A
In
Christmas
general,
Carol.
yes, fair.
In general.
Yeah.
The Grinch is more of like a children's story. You know what I mean? It's like the difference between like Hamlet and The Lion King. It's like, okay, well, one of them is like cartoony and silly and it has the same message, but I'm talking just A Christmas Carol. I think, the Grinch is like, oh, it's a cute little green fuzzy guy and he gets over himself. It doesn't feel as like, and I'm here to teach you a lesson,
I get what you're saying, but I do think that at the time it came out, it was less for the common people to feel
Because they didn't
guilt-ridden.
read then.
Well, no, I think the people who could read it wasn't for them to be guilt ridden. It was for the message was about titans of industry need to see their ways or what will happen to them.
Right.
And that's why I think it's honestly really relevant now that like the bad guy is a curmudgeonly, in this case, a landlord, which got a problem with a lot of landlords. Not you, my landlord, if you're listening to this. But in general,
My landlord's my wife.
problems with his landlord. No, just kidding. But landlords in general, these industry people in general, that's why, we get Fozziwig as our one example of a good boss. I like that this version injects a lot of humor into it while lessening that. And it still gives you all the cornerstones you need. And it doesn't hit you over the head of like, we all should feel guilty that Tiny Tim is going to die. No, the point is Scrooge should feel guilty that Tiny Tim is going to die because maybe if he paid Bob Cratchit a living wage, the dude could afford to stay in his house and also get good medical treatment for his child.
Well, he has
Totally.
polio. He was gonna die.
He doesn't have polio. It's unnamed what he has.
It's rickets.
He might have the tuberculosis. He has one of many common coughing diseases at the time. He could just have a simple whooping cough. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
But I think it's unfair. I think it's very unfair that Kyle just asked how we feel about A Christmas Carol, and now we're back to talking about the Muppets. I'm not referring to the Muppet Christmas Carol. I don't want to get dragged in the TikTok comments.
Fair enough. This is specifically not about Muppet Christmas Carol. That's fair.
No, I think it's relevant because this story. No, Gab, I really appreciate your perspective on it because it's so difficult with these stories. Like I'm sure maybe Dylan has it in Trivs when this book was written, but this story has been adapted so many times. I remember, this is just a side tangent, being so disappointed. Spoilers for Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. Because it didn't market itself as a spin on A Christmas Carol, and here's the twist. It turns out it is. I'm like, oh, you're not writing. I mean, it is hard to write a new Christmas movie, but the story is so embedded and we're so aware of what it's about that it is similar to the people asking for donations. It's like, we get it. We're supposed to give money if we can to help the less fortunate. that is a good thing, but beating people over the head with the morals of it is kind of grating.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. That's exactly what I meant.
Yeah,
Dylan.
I think it's keeping in mind when it came out that it was more than fair. But now that we've been told it 100 times and Gav has seen it every year of her life, I get that why the serious version might be a bit much.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel, maybe I've always been a little depressed. It just feels like Christmas is supposed to be like, you're supposed to have fun. This is supposed to be the best time of the year. And like, it isn't always. And then you feel like you're kind of letting people down because you're like, I'm not having as much fun as I'm supposed to. And oh, by the way, let's watch this story about this little boy who's about to fucking drop dead because his parents can't afford presents. And guess who's going to get all these presents under her tree? Gabrielle. Maybe you should be a little more grateful. And it's just like, ugh.
I kind of just feel like I have to be like Goodwill Hunting right now, Gab. It's not your fault. It's not about you, Gab. It's not your fault.
But I feel like as a little girl, it felt like it was my fault.
It's not your fault.
God, is this? I feel like I should call my therapist and get her in here on the episode too.
I successfully Goodwill Hunting her. Yes.
Why does this feel like it's my? I think we hit the nail on the head, and this shouldn't be happening on this podcast. But I think that as a little girl watching this, I did feel really guilty, and I think I don't like that feeling of guilt because it isn't my fault. I'm not like Scrooge.
No,
you know?
and the point was, it's never meant to be about you as a child receiving gifts. It's never meant to make
Gab's
a child
Venmo
receiving
is in the
gifts
episode podcast description.
Send her your money.
Yes. Please, the therapy bills are out of control. Yeah. But I think, oh God, and maybe this is cultural from being raised Jewish, right, Dill? But like, I feel guilty about everything. I feel like everything is my fault.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask you a genuine question? Just because it is something that I find incredibly fascinating, and I appreciate the both of your perspectives on this. Because like, I was raised in a Catholic sounds extreme, even though I was baptized that, but like my mom's side was some form of Christian. My dad's side was Catholic. And so Christmas obviously was everything. And even going to like Catholic elementary schools and then high schools, like even though culturally there was a lot of different representation around the greater Toronto area, it was still all Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. And I like so much that you guys bring that to the forefront because we're talking about the relevance of, and this is, people may say, Kyle, get off your soapbox, but like the relevance of the story in terms of the extreme wealthy now, but the perspective that both of you have in embracing both holidays, I find it incredibly interesting because you've had the balance of the two different things, but obviously with mass media, it's always been Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. So I think that's it. Those stories, like there are only a handful of stories about Hanukkah, at least the ones that I've seen.
Shout out to the Rugrats. You always.
I was going to say the Rugrats Hanukkah is the best one.
Yeah, it is the best one. And so no, I think it's compelling to have the mix of that stuff because they are about such different things.
What I think is really interesting is that not a lot of people understand that Hanukkah's like really not a big holiday, and it became kind of a big deal because Eric, Kwanzaa, come on.
Of course.
But Hanukkah became sort of a big deal because of its proximity to Christmas, and that's when you started giving Hanukkah gifts, but it like wasn't like that. But also like Dill, you guys had a Christmas tree growing up.
We, for a couple years until I was probably like 9 or 10, I think just so that we didn't feel left out, my mom and dad would have a Christmas tree and we'd celebrate Hanukkah and get something small each day for Hanukkah. And then Christmas Day would be like, okay, here's a bunch of Christmas gifts so that like when you go to school the next day, it's not just like, I got some tinfoil wrapped chocolate coins. They were delicious,
I give those out on Chinese New Year.
Ooh.
Oh, good.
I didn't know there's a Chinese New Year version of Hanukkah Gil.
Yeah, great.
I found out recently at Walmart they have Ferrero Rocher wrapped Wise Men.
What? That's sick. Ferrero Wise Men.
I love that.
Kyle looks like he just had a huge scoop of peanut butter the way he just said that.
No, I mean back to the movie, like I think what works about this, and having seen it once a year for the last 14 years, there's like parts of this that I find fascinating, which is I always enjoy the slapstick nature to which they execute with the Muppets. Like they use them so effectively in breaking the tension, and Gonzo and Rizzo are so good at that together. I think one of my favorite cuts in the movie is when they're showing the great thinkers, and it's like Socrates, Aristotle, William Shakespeare, and then they're both just sitting there like, yeah, this
Rizzo
is
and Gonzo. Yep.
Yeah. That stuff's really funny. Or it's been a meme on TikTok, I feel like, the last couple months, where it's like, this piece of information you must remember. Right at the very beginning when he's like, the Marleys were dead. And they're sitting on the...
That's why I also love, though, that the movie very much says, like, okay, we're leaving for right now. And that's when the movie's like, no, it's time to get the most serious at the very end, when it's the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, which I like that he's still a Muppet, but he's also kind of freaky looking. Like, he has his super long arms and no face and all that. But I do think it's used so effectively, the humor. Like, my favorite Muppet is Beaker. And I love so much the moment in this movie when, what's his name? I think Bunsen is the other guy's name. But when they come in and he goes, Mr. Scrooge, I presume, and Beaker just goes, me. Like, I don't know why. It just works on me. And like I said, I was listening to the song on Spotify, and I love, if you're watching the movie and you listen real tight, you can hear Beaker singing along, going, me. Like, he's my favorite character. Just so stupid, but delightfully stupid.
Yeah.
Did you find it weird that the main character isn't Kermit? Like, it just feels like now they wouldn't ever do that.
Not at all. And he's not the main character of Muppet Treasure Island either. So for me, it was like old hat. And he's so perfect to me as Bob Cratchit, as like the everyman, because he is the one we're most used to, that we're like, there's old reliable Kermit and there's old reliable Bob Cratchit. Like, he makes perfect sense as that.
Can I say something really dumb?
Sure.
You usually do.
Thank you. I was trying to figure out a way to phrase this better, and I couldn't. And I'm hoping that you guys will help me. But God damn it, Kermit is so talented. Like, I get it. I get it. But like, he's so charismatic, and he's so good, and he sings well, and he dances, and it's like, I get that it's a puppet, but they give this puppet so much charisma.
The acting coming through the person's hand and voice is incredible. It's very good.
Absolutely. That frog made me fucking cry.
That frog can do anything. You're like, God damn it. Now, I'm hoping we'll get to this in the facts, but like, I don't even want to know, like, is it the same person? Like, is Kermit still the OG Kermit?
No. It's changed recently.
I said we'll get to it.
Sorry.
When he's talking, though, about meetings and partings and talking about Tiny Tim, what a performance from a fucking puppet and a puppeteer. That's how you fucking do it.
Or when they're scatting.
Well, and there's something about the practicality of them. Like, it's something that I'm glad I've shown my kids, like, a fair amount of stuff we would have grown up with, but you're not looking at something somebody, I mean, a lot of the times drew, but now everything's CGI animated. Like, that's a person's hand and a person's voice getting recorded, likely at the exact same time. And then there's likely a third person who's moving the hands, so the hands can move. And it's impeccable that, but no, it's a testament to these performers, because it is hilarious, not even hilarious, but the uniqueness of this particular brand that made puppets universally beloved. And then there's Michael Caine.
And Michael Caine.
Caine.
I want to say something else about this, and you know, for our younger listeners out there, I made a note that said Scrooge was essentially the recipient of a screenshot of his own conversation. You know, when you screenshot something and you accidentally send it to the person instead of who you meant to send it to? That was what happened to Scrooge. Like, he opened up his phone and his friend sent a screenshot of their conversation.
I saw somebody call it getting red, like when he sees Fred and Clara talking about him during their game, that it was like in RuPaul's Drag Race when they're behind the one-way mirror and they don't know it and somebody's talking about them just for the reveal. Like, I'm like, yeah, that is exactly what's happening. He's like, ooh, what are they all talking about? And then the shade comes out and he's like, take me out of here, spirit. Like, he's like,
yes.
I didn't expect to get read for filth.
Do you find, though, and I feel like this is the case in most of the versions of this, the visits are the least interesting part of the story?
Yeah, it's much better when everyone sings about what a piece of shit he is.
No, but just like the world building is always so fascinating. And then like, obviously you see he sucks. I think the only part of the visit I like, and we've talked about Kermit a bunch, but like Kermit's family, I'm still mad that it's just like, oh, the girls are pigs and the boys are frogs. Like, kudos.
What sort of hybrid mutant freaks do you want, Kyle?
No, but like also I give the Jim Henson Company so much credit because like Mickey has been getting blue-balled for like 75 years. There's no Mickey and Minnie children at all. Like Goofy got some because Max is around.
Oh, you're saying credit to the fact that they fuck.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Like, no, I'm not joking. Like some of these brands, they won't even they'll get around this. It's just always like a cousin or a nephew, right? Donald's has nephews. Although they touch on that, like where their mom is in the new DuckTales. But I think it's funny that they have, what?
Muppet Boogie Nights starring Kermit the Frog as Dirk Diggler. Full frontal nudity.
Oh my God.
Coming 2026. Spelled not how you
You're not just going to see his tadpole.
Oh, yes, I love it. Great tagline.
I'm so upset.
'Tis the season to be jolly and joyous.
Oh God. You know what I loved? The kiss on the nose from Rizzo to Gonzo.
Oh, so sweet. I love every interaction those two have. Light the lamp, not the rat. Him pushing him into the ice and then slamming him down. He goes, I suppose you think I should be thankful for that. You're welcome, you know?
I think my favorite bit is when he is thrown over the fence and then goes back through it for the candy.
Oh, and what does he say to him? He's like, God, you're an idiot.
You could have fit through the gate the whole time? Yeah?
I also
why is he a New Yorker, but they make a point of doing with the eagle, and he's like, it is a tradition in America, and then like Charles Dickens
goes, the British way, and then he was
the British way.
It is the American way.
Yeah.
It's just a joke about business. Yeah. But Rizzo at his heart is a New Yorker.
Yeah, well, he's a rat, right? Like, we have a lot of rats.
I like to think that Rizzo was the pizza rat.
All but one of the movies I think I've been on has a rat in it for this podcast.
Zorro has no rat. The Mask has no rat.
Yeah, it does. There's a rat running through the... Oh, no, I'm conflating that with... Well...
But the Great Mouse Detective definitely has rats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one time you were.
No, TMNT has a rat. The Great Mouse Detective has a rat.
It's a little weird to have 3 different movies with talking rats who are prominent characters. I think he found a fair link. I'll give it to him.
Fine.
I love Rizzo's scream when he does jump off the fence. That's also one of the moments that makes me laugh out loud every time. Just me?
Yeah,
okay.
that's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I like the wind. I like the he can see the omnipotence. I think that was pretty fun. And then the window lit up. And
yeah, they're like, how does he do that type thing?
Mm-hmm. Oh, also just the logistics when they're climbing up the rope. And I looked at Lillian like, how are they gonna? Oh, and then they cut just at the time like you would see the puppeteers turning them around to get to the window on the tree.
Yeah,
yeah, we don't. Need
I know
to
you're
see
talking
that.
about.
Yeah.
I don't really have a ton else to say. I did think it was really funny when Scrooge says to the spirit of Christmas yet to come, whose death brought these people so much glee? Like, come on, bro.
I think he knows, but I do love. He also says he's like before he gets to his grave, and he's like, "The man can still change." It's like this is what has to happen, right? And he's like, "Come on." That also feels like when you're asking your mom, like,
yes.
I love the Ghost of Christmas Present and the aging that happens to that puppet as it goes along. Like the first time I had seen this I was an adult, but short of tracking, like, wait a minute, what are they doing? And it's like, oh, like that works really well. You know what I hate? The Ghost of Christmas Past being the like floating head see-through thing, like they're doing the CG. I'm like, this isn't a Muppet. This is like Marley and Marley has some like translucentness to it, But
that
then
is how the Ghost of Christmas Past is somewhat described in the book, as this floating ethereal
I
presence
don't give a
that's not
shit.
quite-
Make it Elmo just like floating around or something. Like pick a Muppet.
Well, originally the plan was to have Muppets be the ghosts, but I think that would have been much worse. Like, I like that
I
Marley
agree.
and Marley are the only actual recognizable Muppets.
I'm sorry,
Statler
who?
and Waldorf. Oh, is that what you wanted? Okay.
Marley and Marley. Oh.
But I was going to say with Ghost of Christmas Present, and stop me if I'm like going off the deep end here. His main line that he says all the time is, "Come in and know me better, man." Right? And the whole time I have the subtitles on. It's "Come in and know me better, comma, man." And I like to think that that is really a major period of transition. We see him starting to dance with the Christmas spirit and all that, and like a very awkward looking dance because he's keeping up with the giant puppeteer, I guess. And at the very end, before he's going to see the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, the Ghost of Christmas Present says, "Go forth and know him, better man." And I think that line is intentionally made to be that he's acknowledging he's already becoming a better man.
And a reference to Robbie Williams, the pop star who never made it in North America.
Yes, the one who had the biopic where he was a monkey the whole time.
Chimp, but yes.
Chimps are monkeys.
What?
No, they're different animals. Monkeys have tails, chimps don't have tails.
Chimps don't have tails?
I'd like to
No.
move on, please.
Can we just acknowledge before we get to the facts of the line, cheeses to the meeces, that I think is very cute?
Oh, yeah. That is cute.
I like those little mice in the wall. Even Scrooge, before he's gone full nice, looks at those mice in the wall at one point and starts to smile. I'm like, you can't not acknowledge the cuteness of those little fuckers.
The production design in this movie is impeccable. Like the starting off with the miniature as they're panning across. And again, like I know I said this already, just everything existing just makes it feel that much more real. Like it's not like, look at that amazing drone shot of a CGI city. Like it's
Even-
like, no, that's a mall.
Yeah, even just the blocking that we talked about when Scrooge is first introduced, he's high above everybody. It's only him and Muppets. And then by the end, we've worked in more people. He's sitting down with them on their level. Like, it just does a great job of taking something so silly and making it work with what is, as we said, a very guilt-laden, sermon, serious story. Now, Gab, would you like me to get to the facts?
Please.
I want the truth!
Face the facts, ducks.
Facts have no place with an organized religion.
Starting with our ratings, on IMDb, it has a 7.8 out of 10. On the tomato meter, it has a 78% with 45 fresh reviews and 13 rotten. An audience score of 86% with an average score of 4.2 out of 5. It had a budget of $12 million and grossed $33 million. It was released December 13th, 1992, and in its opening weekend, it came in 6th at the box office behind A Few Good Men, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, The Bodyguard, Aladdin, and The Distinguished Gentleman. The critics' consensus, it may not be the finest version of Charles Dickens' tale to grace the screen, but The Muppet Christmas Carol is funny and heartwarming and serves as a good introduction to the story for young viewers. Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars and said, like all the Muppet movies, this one is a musical with original songs by Paul Williams. My favorite is the early chain-rattling duet by the Marley Brothers. It could have done with a few more songs than it has. I love to picture Roger Ebert being like, oh!
You know what he was doing? He's writing his review and he's like, we're Siskel and Ebert.
Rita Kempley from the Washington Post. Neither drama nor comedy. It's safe stuff and most un-Muppet-like. So much for Great Expectations.
Oh.
How do you describe this movie as un-Muppet-like?
I don't know.
I
I
don't know.
don't know.
Jonathan Rosenbaum from the Chicago Reader. This is the dullest and least successful adaptation of the Christmas chestnut I've ever seen.
Savage.
Maybe he needs to have the better spirit all the year round. He should keep Christmas in his heart, past, present, and yet to come. Last review, Peter Bradshaw from The Guardian. There may be some people who can watch Kermit the Frog's nephew Robin give his heart-wrenching performance as Tiny Tim in the Muppet Christmas Carol without choking up. I am not among them.
Aw.
Damn straight. Letterboxd reviews. Scott Interrante, who does the music for this podcast,
Oh my God.
said no notes. Brendan O'Hare said Kermit should have played Scrooge. It would be nice to see him take a risk for once in his goddamn career.
I actually really like that idea. I want to see Kermit with some range.
No, man. He is
Yeah.
perfect for Bob Cratchit, and y'all are crazy. Jamel Bowie. Is this the single most affecting performance of Michael Caine's entire career? Given that I cry every time he gets the scar from Beaker, I think so. Ethan. Damn, the puppetry from Michael Caine is impressive. And last one from Nora. Do you also cry when Beaker gives Michael Caine his scarf, or are you normal? The movie was directed by Brian Henson, the son of Jim Henson. This was his directorial debut. He also directed Muppet Treasure Island, Sid the Science Kid, and The Happy Time Murders. The screenplay was written by Jerry Jewell, who also wrote Muppet Treasure Island, 46 episodes of Fraggle Rock, The Great Muppet Caper, and Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
No way.
Which, when Gab and I were at Thanksgiving together, we were talking about what movie should I pick for this Christmas episode? And Uncle Keith pipes up and goes, what about Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas? And we were like, are you tripping? You made that up. But
yeah, we were like, what
real.
the hell is that? And it's 45 minutes.
And it's on YouTube in its entirety, which always speaks to something's quality.
We might have to slide in.
Of course, based on the book by Charles Dickens. But now we can finally get to the fun facts, of which I have shockingly many.
Okay.
The stage was on 4-foot risers for Muppet performers, which means for the human actors, Michael Caine, he was usually walking on only a 2-foot wide plank, having to act normally. Which I think if you really think about it, you can tell in the beginning that like some of his steps seem a little small for a normal human being, but he's keeping up with the tracking and the Muppet performers.
Yeah. It's like Seth MacFarlane walking with not Seth MacFarlane, Mark Wahlberg walking with Ted when they show the like what his pace has to be for Ted to be able to keep up.
Yes, a perfect point. That's a very accurate comparison, actually. The puppeteers all found Bean Bunny a little too cute and relished putting him in miserable situations. Hence why we see the wreath get thrown at him, why we see him freezing out in the cold. They were like,
oh my, that's the saddest part. He's just like, with the newspaper.
Which I also had it pointed out to me when I watched it. Scrooge makes him carry that turkey around for a long time. Scrooge is making stops at everybody's place, and he's just like, keep going, you're going to earn those shillings. And when the Ghost of Christmas Present and Scrooge leave the Cratchit household and the background fades to black, they couldn't fully just fade to black with Kermit and Robin as Tiny Tim being in front of him. So you can actually see the table start to just be lowered down out of frame so that they could have everything fade to black.
At the end of the movie? I don't understand.
So at the end of the scene where they're at the Cratchit household before they go to the graveyard so you can see the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, everything fades to black and all we have left is the Ghost of Christmas Present and Michael Caine. Mm-hmm. Now, how they do that is you can see the background, the lights are just getting dimmer, and we're just having a spotlight on Ghost of Christmas Present and Michael Caine. But you can see if you look that they're just starting to lower the table and the puppets for the Cratchits and their household. It's just starting to lower out of frame. So I just thought that was a cool way of, movie making and puppeteering that they do, that they're just like, well, we can't just have things dim on them and still have Michael Caine and the other ghosts showing.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple more facts here. The very famous one is Michael Caine told producer and director Brian Henson, stop me if you've heard this already, because I feel like everybody who knows this movie has heard this.
I still want to hear it.
I'm going to play this movie like I'm working with the Royal Shakespeare Company. I will never wink. I will never do anything Muppety. I'm going to play Scrooge as if it is an utterly dramatic role and there are no puppets around me. To which Henson replied, yes, bang on. Caine also said when working with Muppets, the only thing that you have that can save you with the Muppets is reality, because that's what they do not have. It's the only thing they do not have. They have everything else in spades, which I'm like, sir, I love how much you thought about that. There was also a great... They were interviewing Muppets, and somebody asked Miss Piggy if she got to keep her wardrobe when production finished. It was ABC News, and she said, you think I'd be thrilled to keep this? I could go to the Salvation Army and get this. We're not talking Armani here, kid. Which I love that I just referred to the actor as though it's, Miss Piggy, but that is, I love that the opening credits are also for the actual Muppets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. And then Michael Caine is Scrooge.
I realize I skipped the actors. I promise I'll go back to it, but I'll make sure there's a spoiler warning for the kids so they don't know that the Muppets are played by people. Michael Caine also said that the messages, no matter how bad things are or people are, they can change. You can change if you just work on it. Even you, Gab, who got presents as a kid, you selfish motherfucker.
Yeah, thank you.
Isn't that also the moral of the story at the end of Rocky IV?
If I can change, and you can change, everybody can change.
Can change.
Yes. which is my second favorite version of A Christmas Carol. In an interview, Kermit the Frog stated that the most important piece of acting advice ever given to him was by Sir Michael Caine on the set of this movie, and he told him, never blink. The Ghost of Christmas Past effects were created by making a special puppet that was operated in a tank of water and then green screened into the movie to make it look like it was floating. Kyle's shaking his head like that freaky thing shouldn't exist.
It's unsettling. Like it would be in not an A24 or who's the Blumhouse movie.
It's supposed to be a little freaky looking.
It's so unsettling. You know what? Some of the thing that does date this is you can see a lot anytime they're doing rear projection.
I don't think so. I don't think it ever stands out. Once you've bought into a world of Muppets, I don't think anything else really stands out that much that you're like, well, I can't buy it. My suspension of disbelief is totally ruined now. You know?
I think what's so impressive about the Muppets for the 99% of the time is it's in camera.
Yeah.
And like when they have to use those things, for me, that part stands out. Like Kermit going across the ice with the penguins. The first time we see the ghosts of Christmas Present, that's rear projection because the guy is not that. And then it flips to when it's looking down on Scrooge. And you can just sort of see that's a perspective shot. But
I just think there's so many scenes though where him walking with Tiny Tim on his shoulder and they're literally just blue screening out the Muppet performers, which they had to have I think it was 10 to 12 performers for things like that to operate everything. But there are plenty of times where I'm never taking, there's much more that I'm not noticing than things I have. Like the knocker turning into Jacob Marley is noticeable to me because I'm like,
oh, the morph?
Yeah, the CGI morph thing. I'm like, okay. As I was saying, according to producer-director Brian Henson, Gonzo and Rizzo narrate because he wanted to incorporate the narration and prose of the original novel, which makes this the most accurate version of A Christmas Carol with the most lines taken directly from the book. Henson confirmed 95% of what Gonzo says in the movie is directly taken because of how wonderfully Dickens describes the scenes. This is the first major Muppet project after Jim Henson's death. The role of Kermit the Frog was handed down to Steve Whitmire. He said he was incredibly nervous about taking over such an iconic character, but the night before he was recording Kermit's songs for the movie, he had a dream where he met Jim Henson in a hotel lobby and told him how unsure he was. In the dream, Henson reassured Whitmire that the feeling would pass. After he woke up, Whitmire was confident and able to perform the part wonderfully.
So what you're saying is...
I can't imagine.
So what you're saying is it wasn't easy being green.
Oh, boo, boo, not worth the second attempt. Boo.
Boo.
It's not easy being green.
I can't imagine if you're taking on a role. I don't even know how to say this in English. It's like, how do you take over Kermit the Frog? Because it's not like, oh, and now we're going to see this person's interpretation of this character. It's like, no,
it has to be exactly the same.
Yeah. It has to be exactly the same. And it's so iconic. Everyone knows Kermit. You cannot fuck that up. Oh my God, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, totally fair. Brian Henson confirmed that the shooting star at the end of One More Sleep Till Christmas is a tribute to the Muppet movie from 1979 and the man who was there from the beginning, Jim Henson. So you can see a shooting star.
The movie's dedicated to him, right? At the beginning?
The movie's dedicated to him and, oh my God, what's his name? Richard Hunt, I believe is his name, who was the actor for Scooter, who had also passed.
Mm-hmm.
But every time there's a shooting star in a Muppet production, which there are many times, it's said to be a tribute to Jim Henson. In the final musical scene, a store in the background is called Micklewhite. Sir Michael Caine was born Maurice Joseph Micklewhite. This is the only adaptation where Charles Dickens appears during the story. It is also the only adaptation where Fezziwig, or Fozziwig, is seen alive at the end as an elderly Fozzie Bear and Sam the Eagle are seen near the end, and unlike the other movies in the book, Scrooge has several bookkeepers rather than just Bob Cratchit as his only member of staff. Which I saw Michael Caine acknowledge. He went, that's the only moment where I think I went over the top for the comedic thing when he, how would the bookkeepers like to be unemployed and the heat wave? This is the first film where Gonzo is the main protagonist of the Muppet production and would be followed by Muppets from Space and Muppets Haunted Mansion. In the book, there's only one Marley, Jacob. Robert was added so that Statler and Waldorf could perform as a duet. Take this with a grain of salt, but supposedly considered for the role of Scrooge, Leonard Nimoy, Bob Hoskins, Peter O'Toole, David Warner, George Carlin, and Ringo Starr.
Ra's al Ghul could have been That would have been amazing.
Yes, David Warner. could have been the voice.
Detective.
Yeah, that would have been kind of cool. Well, and I'll connect it to Batman one more time. The guy who wrote all the songs, Paul Williams, is the actor who plays the Penguin in Batman the Animated Series, Paul Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Also considered for the role of Fred the Nephew, which I find some of these names hard to believe, Phil Collins, Rod Stewart, Sting, and Davy Jones.
How? They're like the same age as Michael Caine.
I guess. But Michael
They
Caine,
had young Ed Sheeran do it, and it was great.
I feel like Michael Caine looked older then than like he looks old now, but he looked old then, you know?
It's the like skullet he has in this movie.
Yeah, that haircut's
hair.
not doing him favors, but it's not supposed
They
to.
did him dirty with that hair. But I did say, Michael Caine is so as the movie started, Corey and I were watching it, we were like, oh God, the next time you hear Michael Caine's name, it's probably not going to be good news. And then we were like, he was an old man in this. And then you see his face for the first time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever seen him younger.
If you look up like Alfie or The Italian Job, those are the only movies I can think of where he's like a young guy, you know?
Yeah.
In the commentary for Muppet Christmas Carol, the creator said a few children at advanced screenings asked what the bookkeepers did wrong to get coal at the end. It had slipped their minds that Santa gives bad children coal in their stockings, but it was for them to stay warm, goddammit.
Yeah.
So now I've got a couple of facts about the book. According to his diaries, Dickens based the name of the central character, Ebenezer Scrooge, on a tombstone he came across in the Canongate Kirkyard in Edinburgh in June 1841. It read, Ebenezer Scroggie, Meal Man, died 1836. Dickens apparently misread meal as mean and wrote that it must have shriveled his soul to be remembered through eternity only for being mean, a life wasted. Ironically, this must have said Scrooge. Is this an autocorrect? No, Scroggie. I have it here as Scroggie, goddammit. Had been a successful grain meal merchant, vintner, and town councillor, noted for his generosity, jovial disposition, and appetite.
Good for him.
May I also be remembered as a meal man.
You will be, don't worry.
You bitch. Like many of Dickens' other works, A Christmas Carol was written as a work of social commentary. Dickens had a lifelong devotion to helping the underserved due to his own family's experiences with debtor's prison, which forced him to drop out of school as a boy and work at a factory. As Dickens' biographer Michael Slater described, the author thought of A Christmas Carol as a way to help open the hearts of the prosperous and powerful towards the poor and powerless. According to IMDb, there are more than 100 versions of A Christmas Carol, including a video game, a 1908 short starring Tom Ricketts, and the 2015 TV movie, A Christmas Carol and Zombies. Though it was more common at the time to say Happy Christmas, Dickens repeats the phrase Merry Christmas throughout A Christmas Carol. When Dickens' novella became wildly successful, the phrase Merry Christmas was popularized and became a standard Christmas greeting. The cranky, miserly Ebenezer Scrooge is thought to have been inspired by two historical figures, Thomas Malthus and John Elwes. Malthus was an economist who wrote that population growth would diminish the opportunities of the population. Elwes was a politician who was extremely frugal despite having incredible wealth. He inherited £100,000, about $13 million today, from his father's death in 1718, and then inherited £250,000, about $32 million, in 1763 from his uncle's death. He reportedly dressed very poorly, rarely sought medical care, and let his mansions crumble for lack of upkeep. He would even go to bed very early to avoid buying candles for nighttime and eat molding food to avoid buying fresh food. He died in 1789 and left an estate of £500,000, about $67 million to his sons. Lastly, at the end of the book, as we know it today, the narrator says of Ebenezer Scrooge that to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. But the memorable line does not appear in the manuscript. Recognizing that readers would want to know that, thanks to Scrooge's change of heart, Tiny Tim would live, Dickens inserted the phrase in the proofing stage. So apparently he just didn't acknowledge Tiny Tim at the very end, and people at first were like, what happened to Tiny Tim? What's going on with that crunch of that chair, goddammit?
Fair.
I do love Gonzo's reading, who did not die. Yeah.
It sounds like a joke.
Yes. So very quickly it stars Michael Caine as Scrooge, who you know from The Dark Knight as Alfred, Alfie, and Jaws 4: The Revenge. Dave Gelles as the voice of Gonzo and Robert Marley. Steve Whitmire as the voice of Rizzo the Rat, Kermit the Frog, Beaker, and Bean Bunny. Jerry Nelson as the voice of the Ghost of Christmas Present, Jacob Marley and Tiny Tim. And Frank Oz as the voice of Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, and Sam Eagle, all of whom you know from other Muppet media, Fraggle Rock and Sesame Street. With Jessica Fox as the voice of the Ghosts of Christmas Past and Stephen McIntosh as Fred. You did ask if Steve Whitmire is still Kermit the Frog. He was Kermit the Frog from 1990 to 2016, and then he turned the part over to Matt Vogel, who has been Kermit since 2017.
I feel like I know that name. Has he done anything else?
He is also the full-time performer of Big Bird since 2018 and Count Von Count since 2013.
How the fuck do you have time to be Big Bird, the Count, and Kermit? Kermit feels like it has to be a full-time job.
There's a lot of gaps between, like, the ownership with Disney has definitely slowed down how often they're putting stuff out.
Yeah, I don't think I think there's a good amount of space now.
And
between
PBS canceled Sesame Street.
Yeah. Wow.
That's all
bummer.
the facts I have, which feels like it was a plenty.
All right. Well, I guess it's about that time.
Let's assess your Christmas spirits and get to the verdicts.
Do or do not. There is no try.
The guilty will be punished.
Sentence is death.
Dylan, would you like to go first since you picked this movie?
Yeah, this is my movie, and having rewatched this and Muppet Treasure Island, I definitely had more nostalgia for Muppet Treasure Island going into it, and I really enjoyed it, and I love Tim Curry. I get why people love this, man. This is one of those things that I would watch this every year. I think Michael Caine is perfect. It does such a good job of injecting humor. It's, as Gab loves, it's an hour and 25 minutes.
Easy. Breezy.
There's at least 3 songs on here that I literally listen to on my own time on Spotify, which to me says that it's doing a great job. I don't know. I just find it so fun and so heartwarming, and it really feels like it is about the Christmas spirit without being about gifts and commercialism or forced romance, and it just really does a good job of economy, of being funny while also working in the serious things just quick enough. Marley and Marley saying that, we built these chains in life, you have a chain around you, or him saying I love you to, I don't remember her name, but her saying you did once is enough to know
Bella.
Belle, that the relationship fizzled. Just simple things like that, and it just works. And I fully buy, as ridiculous as it is, Michael Caine's changed by the end, and I don't want Gab's half-hour longer version where they all tell him he was a real dick for a while, but they forgive him. I really like it. I think it's a movie to watch before you die, and I will let whichever one of you wants to go next.
Dylan, wouldn't it be great, though, if there was, that's how Festivus came to be, where they were like, all right, we'll forgive you, but first we have to do the airing of the grievances.
I do want, as a DVD special feature, I would watch the hell out of, Miss Piggy slaps him across the face, and then Kermit says, you may be the founder of the feast, but you're also a real jerk.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kyle.
I think what's so incredibly fascinating about something like this is, like we talked about it, you're so familiar with the story, and ultimately it comes down to, does this interpretation is it great enough on its own to be something to watch before you die? And I find it so interesting that this has been one of those Christmas movies that it's gained notoriety significantly later. Like you talked about Treasure Island and the Muppet movie and Muppets Take Manhattan. Some of the other ones are just significantly less known. I think my biggest struggle with this, specifically with the Muppets, and we've referenced some of it, the music just for me is really forgettable, which is unfortunate because we think even more modern Christmas movies, they'll reference classic songs or they'll do their own spin on them. And some of the fun is recognizable music, but then also bringing in something new. I referenced Spirited. There's one great song in Spirited. It's called Christmas Morning Feelin'. And I think the songs in this are quaint, but watching a musical, I did not have the same experience where it's an absolute bop and I'm like, oh, I got to listen to the Scrooge song. I don't even know. I couldn't tell you what the name of the songs are. I couldn't. And that could also come from the fact that Michael Caine is not a trained singer, right? It's not, you could do this with, I guess, a gender swap, but it's not Julie Andrews or something. And you're like, oh my God.
Well, he's only got the one song. It's not like they hitched this whole thing on his back.
No, but you're not it's the Muppets singing and the Muppets are fun, but something in this just doesn't necessarily work for me. I don't know. Is it a good interpretation of the Christmas Carol? Sure. But there's something about I don't. You guys don't
Just
have
think for a
such an
second, Kyle, and remember,
What?
'Tis the season to be jolly and joyous.
No, it's fun and quaint to watch, but I think for me when it comes down to this for the list when I've been on, and I'm talking around it because I'm trying to see how I really feel about it. And I'm sorry, Gab, I know I'm wasting your time, but I see the clock.
No.
Is that the question I'm asking myself, and I haven't provided the answer, so as opposed to sitting in silence, I will say it out loud so the audience knows what I'm thinking, which is, if I'm going to show anybody A Christmas Carol, is this the one I show them? And thinking about all the different versions, the problem for me is they all blend together, and I think Gab had some really good points. I don't think I like this story. I just don't think I do. But we're not putting Charles Dickens on trial.
This isn't the Canadian court, Kyle.
Go with your gut, Kyle.
I'm going to say no. I think no.
So that's why you didn't want to pick the movie, Kyle. You wanted to disappoint someone
No,
else.
honestly, I am.
You wanted to break a young boy's heart on Christmas.
No, I think
a young Jew's heart.
No, no, I am legitimately. I'm.
Snuffed out the light on the menorah, didn't you? You monster.
That's a bunch of snuffing. There's a bunch of different lights.
Depends on the day.
It depends on the day. I'm incredibly torn. I am, because I could see multiple reasons why. But I think for me, what it boils down to is it's just, I don't think this is that memorable. And I hate saying that because, I watch this every year, and we didn't bring this up. I have fun with parts of this, but I was lying on the couch watching this with Nalina, and I was getting bored.
Well, to be fair, you watched it 14 years straight. But
I have watched it every year. But it's just it's something about comedies are hard to watch over and no, I'm gonna
listen.
I'm sorry.
I think you made your point. I think you don't. Yeah. Okay. So
he's struggling with how many times he can say no.
Yeah, but I think there's a bit in the lore of this podcast about me and Kyle not ever seeing eye to eye, and I think this may be the first time that we really do see eye to eye, because I struggle with the same thing where, can I really base my opinion on this movie on how I feel about its base text, right? Is this a question of how do I feel about A Christmas Carol, or is this a question of how do I feel about the Muppet Christmas Carol? And I think, unfortunately, for better or worse, I can't shake the fact that I just don't like A Christmas Carol. And maybe that's because I was made to feel guilty as a child. Maybe it's because I just think it's a little overdone. That part is unclear, and I'll work that out on my own time for $150 an hour. What I want to address here is that while it is cute, what it really made me feel was that I'd like to watch a different Muppet movie. It made me want, I've never seen any of the others. I'd like to see Muppet Treasure Island. Oh. I'd like to see Muppets Take Manhattan. I'm interested in these Muppets, as you call them. I am not interested in whatever this is, because I don't really care for its origin text. I didn't really feel anything. I think the music was okay. And like many other things at Christmas, it felt a little redundant, and it felt like this is supposed to bring me some kind of incredible joy that I'm just not feeling. And it kind of made me look around is everybody else loving this? Because I'm feeling I've been let down a bit. I was told this was going to be life-changing, and it's okay.
I don't think any movie is life-changing, really, Gab. I think that's a high bar to set.
Galaxy Quest apparently was to one of Gab's clients.
Oh, yeah. My client Lisa was like, yeah, that's my favorite movie of all time. You're joking around about life-changing, but Dylan, I've watched Die Hard 3 times already this Christmas season. That
Muppet
movie...
Die Hard. Can we get that?
Oh my God.
And if we could have, it would have just been still...
Alan Rickman.
Keep Alan Rickman? I keep Alan Rickman. I think I have Kermit as John McClane.
No, Gonzo as John McClane. No?
Gonzo is John McClane.
Rizzo as John McClane.
Rizzo
is John.
Hey, there's a lot of guys down here rooting for you. You know I am.
Oh my God, it would be so good. But like that's a
Miss
movie,
Piggy is Holly Gennaro.
Wait, but then Rizzo talking about I shot a kid. I can teach you how to deal with anything, but not when you make a mistake.
Oh my God. But like,
is Fozzie Bear Carl? Or no, he's the deputy chief.
The Breakfast Club guy.
The Breakfast Club principal.
Paul
Yeah,
Gleason's
get the horns.
character, who's the last one to be like, I think they're shooting at the lights. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe my affinity for Die Hard is because it isn't so traditionally Christmas, and I have a tendency to not care for things that are like very traditional. But like,
it is in every way. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's to me what is so stupid about it's not an argument because it is a Christmas movie.
Yes.
The reason he's in LA, or as we make fun of up here in Canada, LA, is because to see his family on Christmas. Why else would he be there?
Yes, and the only reason that they are in that building is because it's Christmas Eve and they didn't think anybody else would be there. So, yes, we're on the same page about that. Now, this is two things. I'm scared. But, you know, I don't think this movie is, I don't know. I would watch it during Christmas, but I would be like, okay.
I would watch it every year for Christmas. Like, I feel like I would totally watch this. I would watch Jingle All the Way, like, which are the two opposite polar extremes to me, I feel like. Where one is like genuine Christmas spirit, and Jingle All the Way is like taking the piss out of Christmas fully, and I love that about it. Also,
Jingle All the Way is fun to watch because it's bad.
No, it is not. It is great.
No, it's awesome.
It is fantastic.
Okay.
It is one of the best Schwarzeneggerian films of all time. Also, Cab, I just want to mention the idea of Muppet Training Day.
Oh my God.
Where Kermit is accidentally smoking PCP, like, oh.
But would it just still be Denzel? Would he be
I think we had to keep Denzel, yeah.
Yeah.
But like you have Sam Eagle come out with the gun, he's like, you put your own work here. Like throws the gun at him, yeah.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. Yeah, I don't know. I like these Muppet people. I just don't care about A Christmas Carol. So for me, it's a no. And may God have mercy on your soul.
I'm disappointed by this loss, but you're saying you're open to me bringing other Muppets here in the future.
100%. Bring them on.
There are some phenomenal Muppet movies. Like, I think that's, maybe it's spoilers, but like, there are Muppet movies that I genuinely love, and this is not one of them.
That's not a spoiler. What's the Muppet movie you genuinely love? You can say it.
I like the original is, Rainbow Connection. And then I really did like the Jason Segel 2011 one. Like, Am I a Man or Am I a Muppet?
I don't like that one as much because they are acting too
Muppety
much along with the Muppets. Yeah.
And Muppets Treasure Island.
I like
Muppet
that.
Treasure Island.
And I've seen people say like Tim Curry acts like a Muppet. And I'm like, no, Tim Curry is his same super boisterous self in Muppet Treasure Island. And it's one of his best performances too.
Wow, maybe we've got to do Muppet Treasure Island.
I think at some point we do Muppet Treasure Island. There is an annoying little boy as the main character who they make sing in a very high falsetto, but other than that, really good.
That's okay. I deal with an annoying little boy every other week.
Oh, a person can't change, Gav. This is not set in stone. Well, this is a disappointing end. Kyle, you say the things we say at the end of this podcast.
Gab's Venmo is in the episode description. We're very fortunate to be a part of the Hall of Pods. Merch listing is available as well. I'm wearing, as we record this, the lovely chapeau, aka baseball cap. And Kyle can be on the podcast next when Gab allows him to be. Maybe for one of Gab's picks. We'll really turn the tables. I would love that.
Honestly.
He wants to disappoint both of us individually. Yes.
No, I did not. Okay. I did not
great.
Like, when you said this is what we were going to watch, I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, hey, Nalina, let's watch Muppets Christmas Carol. It's one of the every yearers. And then I think you two have had the same experience where it's like a movie you're familiar with or you're not, and you're watching it with a critical eye. And I went, this is okay. I thought
Yep.
And yeah.
We had the same experience, Kyle.
You can also email us nice thoughts about Muppet Christmas Carol at moviestarbeforeyouDie@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Am I
Kyle, I just
plugging-
want to say, I fought tooth and nail to do Scrooged.
You can pick that for the next
Interesting.
one if you want. And I'm just going to say, to end this, God bless us, everyone.
I don't get to plug Film Realist. That's fine.
No, you can plug Film Realist. And then I'll say it again.
This is Boxing Day, right?
Bah humbug.
Is this Boxing Day when this comes
Well,
out?
we don't have Boxing Day.
I don't know what that
This is
means.
America.
Is that like Unboxing Day? Is that a YouTube thing?
Okay. Do you have?
It's going to come out the 26th,
Oh, okay.
which according to my Apple calendar is Kwanzaa. Joyous
There we
Kwanzaa.
go. Okay,
Joyous
so
Kwanzaa.
if you're listening to this in Canada, sitting looking at Amazon listing for discounts, this week we'll have released my Avatar Fire and Ash review, and then next week, being the 29th, because that is the Monday, you can look forward to my thoughts on Stranger Things Season 5 Part 2, and a special favorite / most anticipated things of 2026 will be releasing on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2026.
Now we all say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. God bless us, everyone. I hate you guys.
I actually didn't know what you wanted us to say.
Now that's the end. I hope you're happy.
We're Gabby and Dilly. Ooh!
But my friends, you were not unfeeling towards your fellow men.
True, there was something about mankind we loved.
I think it was their money.
Mr. Scrooge, I presume?
Hello! Welcome to the Muppet Christmas Carol. I am here to tell the story.
And I am here for the food.
My name is Charles Dickens.
And my name is Rizzo the Rat. Hey, wait a second. You're not Charles Dickens.
I am too.
No, a blue furry Charles Dickens who hangs out with a rat.
Absolutely.
Charles Dickens was a 19th century novelist, a genius.
Oh, you were too kind.